Okay, quick fun story that I wanted to share. Monday morning, my wife walked in the kitchen, and she has a mission to get all the gnats in the kitchen. So I looked, I go, Chris, I killed 5 gnats this morning before I made him coffee. I go, 2 were male, 3 were female. She looked at me. She goes, what? She goes, share that with me. How do you know that 2 were male and 3 were female? Well, I go, Chris, that beer can I left out on the counter last night, 2 of the males were on that and 3 of the females were on the phone. Okay, what can you say? How happy are your customers and your business? Okay. I'm going to talk today about customer surveys. They're very important, and depending upon the type of business, product, or service that you have, customer service inquiries are worth their weight in gold. Well, you know, one disappointed customer is going to tell 14 other people how upset they are. So you want to be aware of that. Happy customers are promoters. They are key to repeat business and referrals. Mark just talked about referrals. A happy customer can be a great referral for you. 80% of your business is done by 20% of your customers, so you want to make sure that 20% is happy. You want to make sure you ask good questions. I'm going to talk about that a little bit. Good, honest feedback from customers is gold. If you find out that your answering on the phone time is hard when someone calls into your business and it takes over 2 minutes for the person to pick up the phone or something like that, you need to know about that so you can make changes. That's what customer surveys are all about. They help build loyalty and brand to strengthen your brand. Surveys can be done via an email, on the website, or you can use telemarketing to actually talk to people. And keep in mind, if you get a really good quote, a testimonial from a client that says, I love your business and here's why, and it's a great piece that they say, that is a gem to put on your website to talk about client success stories, as well as maybe in a newsletter that you might put out, or maybe in an email that you send out to people in your email blast program. Okay? A couple good, strong areas. Let's talk about a couple good points for doing surveys. KISS, keep it short and simple. That's a key. Your biggest concern, you want to keep things brief. Don't make really long questions. Don't make it, 10, 20 questions on your survey. It just needs to be very short and sweet. That's an important part. You want to ask only questions that fulfill your end goal. So you need to sit down and actually think about what are some good questions I need to know from my clients. What is a topic that you want to know about? Is it your product? Are you happy with the way that your service is doing? Present that question so you get that response, that answer back, so you know every single question you has a defined purpose. That's important. Construct smart, open-ended questions. Multiple choice and scales are very popular, but get something where they might start out with a simple question and then you move them down the line to finish up with a little bit more in-depth questions. But they should be smart, open-ended questions. Strategy is to really, commit to a question to keep it simple and keep it short, like we said earlier. Ask a question one at a time. Sometimes we've been hit with, you'll start, how did you land on our site? Did you understand what our product did as soon as you hit the page? Why or why not? It's a lot of things going on at first. So start very simple and short, maybe with a yes or no question, and then you can build on top of that. But if you want quality responses, you need to give people time to think through the question. Sometimes making rating scales is really a great way to do it, but make sure they're consistent. So, for instance, if you're working with a system where you choose 1 to 5, 1 is going to be, I strongly disagree, and 5 is strongly agree. Don't change it up later in the program to have number 1 now is assigned to most important and number 5 is least important. It confuses people. So keep it consistent with your rating scales. Very, very important. People who do them, you respect that they take the time to do that, whether it's a question online or at your website. You want them to be as fluid as they can, make it easy, and make it something that's not going to take a lot of their time. You want to avoid leading and loaded questions. I did some research. SurveyMonkey is one of the top survey companies, huge across the industry and huge across the United States for doing surveys. This is a huge industry to query people about all kinds of things. I'm sure every one of us has taken some calls at home right now for the political questions that you're getting. Isn't it fun? I can't wait till the election's over in November. We'll get all through that. It'll be great. But for instance, one of the questions that they show that they might have had up that is not a great question is this one here. You know, we recently upgraded SurveyMonkey's features to become a first-class tool. What are your thoughts on the new site? A better neutral question would be to just say simply, what do you think of the recent SurveyMonkey upgrades? Keep it easy. Don't get too involved. So don't mislead and give a real punch-leading question. 7, it's great to make use of yes and no questions. They are very powerful. And I think a good way to start out the survey, especially on the phone or in an email that you might send a client with 10 questions, start out with some simple yes and no questions. Are you happy with our services? Yes or no. Are you happy with the hours we provide for you? Yes or no. And then you might ask another question, yes and no, and then you might say, if you had a choice for a longer hours, would you rather see our hours go till 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock? Give them some choices, have them decide, pick the one they want. But yes and no questions can be pretty powerful. Timing is important, especially if you're working with like an online survey that you might send out from your company or in an email blast. SurveyMonkey found some of the best days to work surveys are Mondays or early in the week. People are coming back from a rested week and a vacation, or maybe not. And then Friday and Sundays later in the week. They kind of got through their week. Sundays can also be a good day to send a survey question out. Telemarketing, you can work that pretty much most days, Monday through Friday. I do telemarketing, a survey for one of my larger clients. Do it on Thursday morning every week, and it's a weekly survey that we're doing that I call on. It works great, no problems. The next question the next part of the survey I wanted to share with you includes this book called The Ultimate Question. I'll leave it out if anybody wants to take a glance through it. The Ultimate Question by Fred Reichelt. A lot of companies are on this network promoter system now. Huge. In fact, this one client that I have, Conference Technologies, when the president of the company read this book 2+ years ago, he contacted me. He said, John, go out and buy the book. I'll pay you to purchase that book. I'll pay you one of your 4-hour call blocks. You just sit and start reading that book, get engulfed in it, and then let's set up a meeting with my team. You come in and meet with us so we can get this rolling. So a very powerful book to keep in mind, and I'm going to talk about that to end my presentation today. This is all about what they call, he has termed the Net Promoter System. It helps build a customer-centric culture. You know, customer surveys have to be all about the loyalty of the brand and what you're doing to make sure your customers are happy and very satisfied with your product or service. And also, the culture too needs to be, your employees need to be involved with knowing what is customer service and how important it is to the company. What does that mean? 5 minutes left. Okay. So this system really helps define that. And it helps build from the top down. The president all the way down has to be on board with how important customer service is in everything you do. When you pick up that phone, when you talk to people, when you take an order, anything you do within the company relates to the customers. It's huge. So basically, it's very simple. Your first question you ask is on a scale of 0 to 10, how likely is it you'd recommend the services of Business Connections Consulting to your friend or business colleague? They will give you a number, 0 to 10. Then you ask the next question is, what is the primary reason for the score you just gave me? And they'll tell you. So it's a scoring system. Promoters are people that respond with a 9 or a 10. They're signaling their lives have been changed by working with your company. They have a great relationship. They're loyal customers. Those are the people you want. That's at 20%. So they typically make up repeat purchases. They give a company a large dollars of their spending. They talk up the company to others. They're promoters. They will give you referrals for your business. You want to maintain these people. They're very positive. They're very enthusiastic about your company. They're the 9s and 10s. Okay, the next group is what we call passive people. They give the company a 7 or 8 rating. They get just what they paid for. They're passively satisfied. They're not real loyal, but they have a different set of attitudes and behaviors. They make very few referrals. They're not very enthusiastic. If a competitor offers a different program, they're easy to jump ship. They will defect, no problem. But they're still part of your, I would say what you would say your core business. So 7, 8 people are still part of your good business. The last group are your detractors. These are people who are going to give you a rating of 6 or below. So they're not very happy. They're dismayed. They're dissatisfied. They don't feel they've been treated real good. They might badmouth the company. If they can easily switch because of long-term contract, they make a nuisance of it. They make complaints. They tend to drive up costs. They have surly behaviors that also affect motivation and employee behavior at your company. These people you want to be aware of. And with the client that I call for, anyone who gets a 6 or below, my client has me ask them, would it be okay if someone from the corporate office called you about this issue that you had? And I'd say 90% will say yes. So it's a great benefit because just doing surveys, people realize, wow, this company is caring for me. They want to do something strong and really put out some good service. And a customer survey will reflect that, whether it's done via the phone call or emails or you have a survey online on your website. So any questions to start out? Steve.
Yeah, so you've talked about different kinds of surveys. Some are electronic by email or through your website. And then you've also talked about the kind where you're calling.
Correct.
So what is it that drives the decision which one you're going to use?
Probably it would just depend upon your company, the size of your company. I really see the biggest value for companies that are doing phone surveys. They're a little bit bigger size, mid-sized to large companies are going to get a value impact. And what I read in the book, enterprise leasing, you name it, the top companies that are in that book have worked this system, and they hire companies to telemarket to do it because it's a little bit more of a personal end. When I call for my client, I always introduce myself as John Eyres with BC Consulting. We're a market survey company. Calling today for my client is Conference Technologies. So I'm a third party doing the customer survey. They tend to open up and be a little bit more honest and give you their issues or their high marks. Dale.
John, how do you assure that the questions you're asking are relevant? I've seen situations where companies have collected data and they were trying to fix things that really, later on, they found weren't really relevant to the buying decision at all.
So that's how important it is to really construct really good questions. Probably need a team of people within the company. When you're looking to do and start a survey, you need to sit down and think what is our end goals to come up with from this survey? What do we find out? What do we want to find out? And if it's not working with the information you want to gather, then you should probably, close some of that down, create a new, different set of questions. It's real important the questions that you ask. Or you can do a simple program like the Net Promoter System. It's geared to, the 2 questions you ask, but you get still good information. Also, if you do ask questions and then at the end of your survey, you might have one question that says, is there anything, as we close down the survey, is there anything you'd like to share, good or bad, positive or negative comment, to share with the company that could help us improve on our programs to our customers?
John, do you have a time frame you want the survey to last to? I mean, people's attention span will only be so much.
So, yeah, that's why if you keep your survey short, 5 questions that you're emailing out, that's great. I've done phone call questions at 5 questions, maybe 7. That's it on the phone. I could see, and I've done some survey questions that are as many as 10, but they're the short and sweet ones. Yes and no, or on a rating scale of 1 to 5. Simple stuff. You read it, you mark the number, bang, you go to the next question. 10 questions, you're done. It's over. Tom.
John, you mentioned the process of reaching back somebody from the corporate office who is rated as a detractor. Do you see a trend? Do you have any data that suggests that those detractors, when contacted and addressed, become supporters and promoters?
They will move up, yes. The book talks about that. Mm-hmm. By doing this system, you're making contact with them. You're working to solve and resolve a resolution with them of an issue they had with your company. So it takes them, yes, from detractors maybe up to the passive to the loyal customers, and it does help. It's all about, I think, just being caring and sharing and saying, hey, I want to, be a better company with our product and service and serve you better. That's what surveys are all about. And then you've got to make the needed resolutions to make adjustments so that people aren't on the phone so long. Or when a technician says he's going to be there at 11 o'clock, he doesn't show up till 2 o'clock, he should at least call. They learn those types of things in surveys. Andy?
Do you have, as far as open-ended questions and numerical, 1 to 10, is there
You could shut that off.
is there something, you use one kind more in emails than you do in actual live surveys, or how do you choose questions and what's the best in each?
Again, I think it just depends upon the size of your company. If you want to do a simple 5-question survey that you send out to people in an email, try it and see how it works. Maybe you might have an email blast letter or a newsletter. In your electronic newsletter, say, we'd love to have you take this 5-question simple survey. It will take less than 2 minutes, and see the response you get. If not, maybe move to doing it by phone, where it's a little bit more personal touch. Great, I'm out of time. Thanks for your time today.